Yeah.
what else can we do to
Yeah.
kind of get through those hard days? So find your tribe would be one. Can you
Find
think
your
of
tribe
another? Yeah.
and share your story. I touched
Okay.
on too. And being that transparent, open self, helps with that. But I'll give you an example of, I guess one thing that I always look at is, um, well, this is an example of an individual who shared their story with me. Now, there's a lot of these in the book, but this one stands out to me because of the way the book starts and the way my life started. When I was born, and I was born with this medical condition called VACTERL syndrome, and which is a birth defect that affects your GI system. It affects your spinal cord. It can affect your heart. It can affect your kidneys, which it affected me. It can affect your limbs. You can have limb deformities. And for me, I was blessed to only have a few of these things. And so at birth, I had what they call tracheoesophageal fistulas and perforated anus. And so for the first few years of my life, I had a colostomy bag. And this is how I, on a day-to-day basis, that's where I went to the bathroom. And we joke because sometimes a colostomy, I think, can be easier than a diaper.
Oh,
And
like,
so,
oh, we got lucky, right?
yeah, but
As
my
parents.
parents, my parents were part of that tribe that got me
Oh,
through those hard days and in the medical professionals. But there was this letter that came to us when I was born. Welcome to Holland is this beautiful letter that Emily Kingsley wrote, and uh, the reason she wrote it, I'm going to share sort of what the letter reads, and then I'll explain why. So she decided to write this letter after speaking to some families about what was going on in her life and what they had to expect. And the letter reads, welcome to Holland. And so it's about her getting on this trip and flying overseas and doing this trip she's always wanted to do. And she had always wanted to go to Italy. And everyone was talking about it and raving about how beautiful Italy was. So she packed her bags, she had her itinerary, and she gets on that plane, and the plane takes off. And they land in Holland, or they land, and the flight attendant gets on and says, "Welcome to Holland." And she's flustered because she expected to be going to Italy. And she gets off the plane and she has to find new itinerary and new clothes and new language she had to learn. And she didn't know where to go visit or see. And so as she's figuring out these different aspects of Holland, and she's realizing how beautiful Holland is itself. And it was a different experience, one that she didn't expect because she expected this beautiful trip to Italy. But she's finding the beauty in all the aspects of Holland. And so she gets back on that plane and she takes off and she lands back home. And as she gets off the plane and she starts to run into friends, the friends are saying, isn't Italy just so beautiful? And telling about their experiences to Italy. And she didn't have that experience, but she said, I had found this new beauty, this new joy, and that was Holland. And it was this depiction, this letter of explaining the story of her in her life where she had expected to have a healthy born baby, and her child had a different avenue in life with some different complications, but she found the beauty in it. And I think
mm,
that is so crucial, that you find the beauty in everything that we do, and because there's always good that can come out of things. um, and so that is just one example in the book of
mm.
what it means to be finding the positivity and getting through those hard days.
Yeah.
And now
Oh,
now her son is so successful and on his own path and journey in life too.
yeah, that's amazing. And part of what I hear you describe is just that intention that we really have to make. We have to be intentional about choosing to think, really. And okay, this may seem really icky. Even your parents laughing about, comparing diapers with your situation, they didn't fixate and focus on the otherwise challenging aspects, but instead they're like, hey, they added a little bit of humor to that, and they're just saying, that's not going to get us down, that we're not going to sweat kind of the small stuff here. And not that it's really small stuff either, but I think you know what I mean. It's being
Totally.
intentional about, yeah, maybe this is a trial in my life, but gosh, there is something for which I can be grateful. And thank God we have a God and serve a God to whom we can offer thanks. It's not that we're thanking like the quote universe or something like that. We have a relational God to whom we're able to express and give our thanks and our gratitude. And that is so important. Sometimes it's hard to do that because we stay stuck in the negativity, and we stay stuck in just that maybe self-focus or self-pity, or it's all on us in a way. But if we can shift that perspective and be outward focused, God-centered, what would he say about me here? What does he say about himself here? And what does he say about my scenario or my situation? And we start focusing on those answers and those thoughts, then something miraculous can really happen. And
yes.